Hey everyone, I'm Ms. Milkowski, the mathematician, and today we are going to talk about operations with complex numbers. So let's have a look. Write the expression as a complex number in standard form. Okay, so standard form of complex number is a plus bi, okay, where a, this is the real part and this is the imaginary part. So we need to get it in that form. It's clearly not in that form right now, all right? So what are we gonna do? Distribute. All right, so let's distribute 2i, okay? So we had 2i times the quantity, 5 minus 3i. I'm going to distribute the 2i, okay? And draw those lines. Please, please, please draw those lines all the time. I draw those lines, and I've been doing math for a really long time, but I still do it just to make sure I don't make a mistake. Okay, so 2i times 5 is 10i, and then 2i times negative 3i, that's going to be negative 6i squared. All right, so are we done? We're not, because what's the issue? We have an I squared. We can't have, standard form does not have an I squared. Okay, so I need to get rid of that. So how do I get rid of it? So think about it. We're dealing with imaginary numbers, and do you remember that I equals the square root of negative 1, so I squared equals negative 1. You need to remember this. This is so important in regular class, on standardized tests, on everything. I squared equals negative 1. Just think about that. Whenever you're dealing with complex numbers, okay, I want you to remember I squared equals negative 1. Then, if you ever see an I squared anywhere, you are going to substitute negative 1 in for the I squared, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to say, oh wait, here's an I squared right here. So instead of leaving it as I squared, since I know I squared equals negative 1, I'm going to take the negative 1 and I'm going to plug it in for I squared, okay? So let's do that. We've got 10i minus 6 times, I guess I'll just use the brown still for there. I squared is negative 1, negative 1, perfect. All right. Now, sometimes there's a couple ways we can, or there's two ways that I like to think about when we have minus and then 6 times a quantity here. So let's just do it the way it is now. So we'll do 10i minus, and then 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. So we ended up with 10i minus negative 6, which is just going to be 10i plus 6. And then remember, we want it as a plus bi, so we just have to have these two numbers swap places. So I'll come over here, and I'm going to have 6 plus 10i. Perfect. So there you go. So now we are done. So this expression, when we write it as a complex number in standard form, we end up with 6 plus 10i. Now, the only thing I alluded to here was sometimes, I just want to show you one other thing you could have done. So here, I'll erase this just to show you. And again, remember, it doesn't really matter which way you do it, okay? It's just you do the way that's best for you, okay? What I sometimes do is I like to say, okay, change it to plus the opposite, okay? Just because then we have an addition sign. So now I'm looking at 10i, because remember, subtraction is just our shorthand for adding the opposite, so or adding the additive inverse, okay? So we do plus, and now instead of positive 6, it's going to be negative 6 times negative 1, okay? And negative 6 times, so it's still 10i plus, and then negative 6 times negative 1 is 6. So we're back to where we were before, and then we just rewrite it so that it's an a plus bi form, so you want the 6 first, so 6 plus 10i, perfect. So there you go. So again, it doesn't matter if you leave it as minus 6 or if you change it to plus negative 6, does the same thing. You do whatever you're more comfortable with, but there you go. Hey everyone, I'm Ms. Milkowski, the mathematician, and I hope you found that last video helpful. If you have any questions or if there are any topics you'd like to see me cover in future videos, definitely let me know in the comments below. Thank you again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'm going to leave you with the most important piece of advice I can give you, which is when you're doing mathematics, always ask why.